Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over potential tropical storm Laura and Marco, which potentially both could make a U.S. impact over the next couple of days. Now, something I do have to mention right before we get in the video so that you guys are aware, I am going to be taking a quick break from doing daily uploads. I will still have uploads out on the channel. I'm scheduling a couple longer range forecasts to go out within the 3-day time frame that I do plan to take a break. From the 23rd, the 24th, 25th, and 26th. I'm not going to be doing current weather, but I'll still have my fall foliage forecast, my first frost forecast, first snowfall forecast, and total snowfall forecast out on the channel. I'll do my updated forecast for all of those. So hopefully you guys do enjoy that, and I won't be able to cover these two storms within that time period. I'm gonna go back to those daily uploads right after I take the break, but I'm just gonna take a quick break, and then I'll be right back to those daily uploads. So hopefully you guys do enjoy those uploads that I'm going to be posting, and hopefully I can get back very, very quickly. So here is your current National Weather Service page. Red flag warnings in effect for the Rockies there, and also for parts of Northern California and Northern Nevada. Also, excessive heat warnings in effect for parts of Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and Colorado and California. There. Now, here's your current 5-day graphical outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We have 3 disturbances out in the Atlantic. Tropical Depression 14 there, south and west of the Caribbean, and we also have Tropical Depression 13 there, which is east of the Lesser Antilles. We also have Disturbance 2 off the coast of Africa, which currently has a 40% chance of developing within the next 5 days. And we'll talk about those two storms in greater detail in just one moment. Now, here is the Eastern Pacific 5-day graphical outlook. Disturbance 1 south of Baja California currently has a 50% chance of developing within the next 5 days. We also have Hurricane Genevieve, which at its peak was a Category 4 hurricane. Now, here is current Central Pacific outlook, and we currently have 2 disturbances. Disturbance 1 off to your left currently has a 10% chance of developing, and we have Disturbance 2 off to your right, which has a 10% chance of developing as well. Now, here is the current infrared satellite loop for Tropical Depression 13. Now, it currently is moving west-northwest at about 21 miles per hour, currently located at about 16 degrees north by about 52 degrees west, and currently has tropical storm sustained winds of about 35 miles per hour. Right now, we're looking at over the next couple of advisory updates, they're most likely going to upgrade this to a tropical storm. Now, here is the key messages for Tropical Depression 13, and we currently have 3 key messages. I'm not going to read them out right here, but you can pause the video here and read them if you are interested. Now, here is the current cone of uncertainty for from the National Hurricane Center. We have tropical storm watches in effect for the Northern and Lesser Antilles. This is going to stay as a tropical storm all the way until Sunday morning, and then sometime between Sunday and Monday, we are looking at a hurricane a low-end Category 1 or maybe even a Category 2 hurricane. We'll have to see with how this storm really develops, and that would be located somewhere over the northern and central Bahamas and over western Florida when that does upgrade to a hurricane, most likely according to the National Hurricane Center. Now, here is the most likely arrival time of tropical storm winds as well as their probability, and we do have a decent chance, about a 50 to 60% chance or 40 to 50% chance offshore there and over parts of the central and southern Bahamas there. We are going to be seeing an impact over the northern Lesser Antilles over the next, over about Friday night is really when you're going to start to see those impacts. Then by Saturday morning, it's moving over Puerto Rico. Saturday night and into Sunday morning, it's moving over Hispaniola. And then by Sunday night into Monday morning, it's crossing over the Bahamas and also parts of Cuba. And then by Monday night, it's moving over central and southern Florida by that point. Now, here is the current 58-mile-per-hour wind speed probabilities, and we do have about a 10 to 20% chance of that occurring over southern Florida, the Bahamas, and also parts of northernmost Cuba. Now, here is the current probability of seeing hurricane force wind speeds, and we have about a 5 to 10% chance of that occurring. Now, here is the model track guidance from the storm, and most of these models have this going north of the Caribbean islands. Yesterday, we really saw these models bring bring this over the Caribbean islands, which really weakened the storm according to the model guidance from last night. But the fact that they moved a little bit further to the north means that's mostly over, mostly moving over islands and very small islands, and also mostly over water. So that is really going to help this storm form and develop a lot more now that it's moving over water and not over big mountainous terrain. Now here is the GFS ensemble models, and they have this moving pretty much straight west northwesterly until it hits about the Panhandle of Florida, and then moving north and then north easterly. Now here is the GEPS tracks, the Canadian ensemble models, and they are bringing this pretty much the same track, but they have a little bit of a wider spread on these models. Now here is the model intensity guidance from these main models, and they are bringing this to about a tropical storm, and then within the next 72 hours, it looks to upgrade into a low-end Category 1, maybe even a Category 2 at some point, depending on the exact track of the storm, and then it looks to kind of die down into a tropical storm, and then maybe a tropical depression later on in time. Now, here is the model track, or here's my personal track for the storm, and this is going to be over the next 5 days from the 20th to the 24th. Now, you see that hurricane icon is currently where the storm is, and it's going to be moving west over potentially parts of the Caribbean islands, although it does look unlikely at this point. The reason I left those in is because if we see another shift like we saw overnight, then definitely the Caribbean islands are not off the table for a track, and that would actually be a good solution because it would mean the storm would really have a hard time developing. It will really die down, and then as it moves over Florida, it'll most likely interact with a larger area of wind shear. So if it were to move over the Caribbean islands and then curve northward, it would have a very, very hard time of developing, and that'll be very, very good for those of you who really don't want hurricanes at this time of year. Now, here is here's my current intensity guidance. I'm keeping this as a tropical storm all the way until the next 72 hours or the next 3 days. Then, but between the next 3 to 5 days, I do think this is going to develop into a Category 1 hurricane, potentially a middle and Category 1 hurricane. Now, here is the current infrared satellite loop of Tropical Depression 14, currently located at about 15.1 degrees north by about 79.7 degrees west, with maximum sustained winds of about 35 miles per hour. So also, it does have tropical storm winds, so we're looking at the next couple of updates for this to upgrade to a tropical storm, and then it's looking to move west at about 21 miles per hour, and it is currently moving west at about 21 miles per hour. Now, here's the current key messages for the storm, and you can pause the video again here and read these if you are interested. Now, here's the cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center. They're bringing this west until it hits about early morning and Friday, and then it looks to curve northwesterly into the northwest Gulf of Mexico, and that's an area where you could really interact with a lot of shear, especially over this region. You're going to have a lot of shear throughout that area, and if you don't know what shear is, it's basically winds changing with height, and that is very good for thunderstorm development. But hurricanes are more symmetrical, and they really like to be very, very organized. And having changing winds with height can really lopside a system and really make it hard for it to develop. So that's why it looks to stay as a tropical storm, or maybe change over to a very brief hurricane before changing back into a tropical storm. Now, here's your most likely arrival time of tropical storm winds, as well as the probability that they will occur. We have over parts of southeastern Mexico about a 50 to 60% chance of that occurring. If you're looking at U.S. impacts, it's most likely going to be right around Monday morning to Monday night, when Texas and Louisiana could potentially feel some impacts out of the storm, and with what intensity they'll feel those impacts, that's really uncertain at this point. Now, here is the 58 mile per hour wind speed probabilities, and we do have about a 20 to 30% chance of that occurring, and your hurricane wind speed probabilities 5 to 10% chance in a very, very small area off the coast of Mexico. Now, here's your model track guidance for the storm, and they are bringing this westward over the next 24 hours and then curving curving north and westward past the next 24 hours and into the next few days. Now, here's your GFS ensemble models, and they are moving this storm again westward over the next 24 hours and then curving straight northwestward. The GEFS models are a bit further to the west than the rest of the models, though. Now, here's your model intensity guidance for this storm, and they are bringing this to a tropical storm for many of these models, for most of these models actually, and then it should weaken to a tropical depression sometime within the next 6 to about 8 days or so. Now, here's your current track from myself here, and I am expecting this to move northwesterly and then kind of move somewhere in between about Mississippi and southern Texas. Now, really the big question is, how fast does this upper trough move? Now, we're going to have this big area of troughiness move throughout the eastern United States. Now, where does this troughing set up? That's really going to be the big question. And when does it set up? If this moves a little bit faster, this is going to be out to the west. Now, if this moves a little bit slower, it's going to pick it up with it and move it potentially over even the panhandle of Florida. So we'll really have to see. There's really a lot of questions with the timing of the storm, especially. Now, here's your model intensity guidance, and I'm expecting this, or here's my own intensity guidance, and I am expecting this to become tropical storm within the next few hours, and then I do think it'll rapidly rise in intensity over the next 24 to 48 hours, and then move and kind of stay as a high-end tropical storm over the next 72 to about 120 plus hours out. So that is my forecast, and that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.